We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Have you ever wondered why the news plays the same 5 stories again and again? Let me give you a little hint. Brainwashing and repetition is the most basic form of brainwashing. Join me as we look at the news cycle and talk about why the mainstream media is so gutless and afraid to report the truth. Good day, good afternoon. Welcome to Conspiracy News with Michael Strange. This is the show where we talk about the news. We talk about the conspiracy that is the news. Don't mind me as I adjust my headphone levels here. Okay, so this show started actually with Troubled Minds, and Troubled Minds is the other show we do, and we used to do a news segment, and Troubled Minds is about aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal. This show is about the news segment that just grew too big to be part of Troubled Minds anymore, and so we started a whole new show. And so we've got 2 shows and I don't know, a dozen YouTube channels that are all in testing and all kinds of wacky stuff. It is what it is, right? You just keep the pedal to the metal and keep putting stuff out there, and eventually something's going to hit. This show, though, in particular, is well, I don't know. It's a lesson in propaganda. It's a lesson in fake news, actual fake news, and not to say that. And this is an important distinction to make, actually, that all news isn't fake, and even the quote fake news that is kind of spinning around out there. I like to say the baby is in the bathwater somewhere. So there's a morsel of truth to the fake news. So you just have to be skilled at figuring out what part that is and untangling the mess that they try and put out there. So yeah, that's really what this show's about. That among other things, and we highlight some of the news that should get more press, should get more play, should be top of the headlines sometimes. That just really doesn't. They use some of the alien stuff or some of the the comet's going to hit the Earth type stuff. It's just garbage clickbait, and then they toss it out and then crank out a new one the next day or the next week. It's just really stupid. So anyway. That's the deal. That's what the show's about. That's why we do it, and it's just important. It's important that a lot of people don't understand what fake news really means, and so this is a good way to kind of get together and talk about these things and just kind of keep it current, keep it fresh, see what's happening on a day-to-day basis, and be able to follow those news cycles. Like I always say too, it's important to do it because when they pivot and they try and get your attention off of something else, you can see it. We did a show on this not too long ago where they actually have disinformation agents that are pulling off psyops called information operations now, that they do try and distract the news cycles with this shiny object, right? And in one case, it was Meghan Markle and the rest of that stuff. So anyway, just that's what's going on. That's why we do this show. That's why we've always done this show, because there's just a lot of phony garbage out there, including UFO stuff, by the way. There's a lot of phony UFO stuff that people try and pull over everybody else's eyes, pull the wool over and say, this is real, and it's just not. We'll get to some of that today, too. I got a tweet from Tom DeLonge, one of my favorites. But okay, so anyway, and to let you know, we do this show live. This show is always recorded live. It will always be recorded live. If you want to be a part of the show today, at any time, you can just dial this phone number, 702-957-1037. You can click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. That's the official website of this podcast and the other, troubledminds.org. Join the Discord. Come say hi, and I'll be nice to you. I've got a track record. You can go back years, and I've been nice to nearly everybody. So it's a good thing, right? It's a good thing. Again, we can be nice to each other. I just don't understand why people have to do the opposite. But okay, anyway, all that said, blah, blah, 702-957-1037. Let's begin here. Let's start with futurism.com and look at this. This is as you would expect. As you would expect, and what we've been talking about kind of in recent days here. Headline is this: British soldiers training for combat in virtual reality. They're running military drills on Oculus headsets. And so we did a show last Wednesday, I believe it was, where we talked about video games. And part of that was talking about how the military has used first-person shooters in particular to train their military, right? And to keep them battle-ready, so to speak, with proper up-to-the-minute military tactics and the rest of this. That probably wasn't one of our best shows, but they all can't be slam dunk winners, but that's okay. That's why you got a track record to lean on. But in any case, back to this. British soldiers. Okay, here we go. So the British military is training its soldiers and running military exercises through a virtual reality simulation. The simulation looked more like a first-person shooter video game than a serious military engagement, according to a new BBC video, in no small part due to the fact that the soldiers used commercially available Oculus Rift S headsets and handheld controllers. The simulations, built by the company SimCentric, enable the military to run exercises or simulate firefights that would be dangerous in real life, ostensibly giving soldiers a leg up in actual combat. Interesting. You don't think the other guys are also doing it? Just checking. Test run. In the video, BBC journalist Zoe Kleinman learns to use the system, struggling to aim and reload a rifle with the same controllers you might use to play Beat Saber. I don't know what that is, but I assume it's a game. The simulation, which uses Fortnite maker Epic Games' popular Unreal Engine, closely resembles the shooter games that run on the same tech. That allows SimCentric, the BBC reports, to rapidly develop specific training scenarios to whatever exercises the military wants to run, right? So they create an actual map, right, or a training map. Hey, Rohan, I see you there on Discord. No, just hop in Discord, man. I don't use Skype because it's kind of garbage. At least I've had problems with it in the past. So if you want to be on the show, just jump in the Discord here. There's a caller queue in Troubled Minds, just jump in there, and then I'll bring you on the show. The on-air portion is locked, so we don't get people just jump in and hijack it. But yeah, so just jump in the caller queue if you want to be on the show, right in Discord, and you can use it that way. Let's see. All right, here we go. So this is again, this is the type of stuff we're talking about, right? Is in the conversation last Wednesday, it kind of centered around them doing a banning Grand Theft Auto, right? Because in Chicago, in particular, the carjackings have gone up 135%, something like that, and they were blaming video games, right? Because clearly, playing Grand Theft Auto normalizes carjackings. So as a result, does that mean, by extension, by some stupid political extension, that people playing first-person shooters turns them into cold-blooded killers and ready to deploy at a moment's notice? I guess that's the real question, right? But anyway, that's really not what this was about. Just kind of a look. I told you so. I told you so. This is the stuff that's happening out there, and yeah. Whatever it is, you tell me. I don't know. Maybe this was just a kind of weak conspiracy news starting story here, but it's okay. Like I said, we got more after this. If you want to be part of the show today at any time, 702-957-1037, troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link, and if you're on the Discord, want to be on the show, just jump in the caller queue. It's a voice. It's part of the voice on the left side. You'll see it, and then we'll get you in here. All right, here we go. Let's go to the Washington Post. One of my favorites. Damn it. Okay, there we go. That worked. All right. So I can't believe it. The puppy's actually laying down and being good. She's been just a noisy racket. Oh, see, there you go. She started crying as soon as I talked about her. Okay. Anyway, so this is from the Washington Post. With new mass detentions, every prominent Hong Kong activist is either in jail or exile. And so here we go. So some sat down for one last long meal with their partners. One went to a tattoo artist to get a Buddhist mantra inked on his forearm. Another purchased pink-rimmed glasses to replace her contact lenses. Left her 2 cats with a friend and swapped sneakers for a wool slip-on shoes. Then on Sunday afternoon, the Hong Kong pro-democracy activist fanned out to police stations across the territory, where more than 40 were charged under the national security law with conspiracy to commit subversion, according to police. They were detained immediately, will be held overnight for a court session on Monday, and face life in prison if found guilty. Now, look, if that doesn't send chills up your spine, I don't know what the hell does. Like this is we followed this when this started, this Hong Kong stuff. And so, what is that? That is conspiracy to commit subversion. And this is what happens in not free societies, right? This is what happens when you speak out against the government and ask for reform, even in peaceful manner. Because, of course, if you remember, just before COVID, interestingly enough, right, some have speculated that the quote, China virus, as Donald Trump calls it, which he was just on CPAC, and he's been getting a ton of press again, which is really funny. I was watching CNN today. Let me digress for just a second. And Wolf Blitzer and what's his name, Jim Acosta, they were like just talking about all the lies that come out of Donald Trump's mouth. They're like, oh, everything he says is a lie. He's telling the big lie. It was so funny. But oddly enough, speaking of CNN real quick, as I digress from this and get back to the freedom in just a sec, in Hong Kong, CNN and the liberal media are going after Cuomo's brother, the New York governor, right? I don't know what's going on. It's a little bit weird to me that he's the top of the headlines right now, and he has been. It's not going away. They're kind of giving him the Donald Trump treatment. Everything he does is wrong right now. It's bizarre. And so it kind of makes you wonder, right? Like, who did he piss off? Or because they could sweep it under the rug, I mean, he's the brother of a prominent anchor on their network, et cetera, blah, blah. Who knows? Maybe his brother mouthed off one too many times and they got sick of him, so now they're going after the governor. Anyway, just curious that's what's happening right now on CNN. Is they took a couple minutes off to say Orange Man bad because of the CPAC thing, but then they went right back to just bagging on Cuomo. So figure that out. I don't know. I don't know what happens behind the scenes. But again, right, so these people, now back to Hong Kong. So on Saturday afternoon, the fanned out to police stations turned themselves in, and they're going to be charged with a conspiracy to commit subversion, okay? A national security law. And remember, when the whole thing that started these Hong Kong protests is that they didn't want extradition to China because, and they wanted clearly to keep their freedoms, right? So what happens is that they protested, and they went to the streets peacefully by the millions of people. Like, there was an unbelievable amount that they had. Some estimate actually said something about 70% of the population went to the streets, right? And this is crazy. This is crazy stuff. And so, it did turn violent, of course, because what happens when you get 70% of the population taking to the streets is that you get crackdowns, right? You get draconian police start beating on people, and that's what happened. And of course, it turned violent. Remember that whole siege with the college and the bridge, and they were shooting fireworks and slingshots. They were shooting slingshots at the cops. You guys remember this? Again, like I said, my memory goes further back than a 24-hour news cycle, and they don't want us to remember these things. They want to wash it away with all the information that comes pouring out every day. But that's where this started. That's where this Hong Kong thing started. Is they did not want an extradition allowed to mainland China from Hong Kong, because then, of course, China could just start picking off political dissidents by sending a court order to Hong Kong and saying, send them over. And they'd have to arrest them and then send them to China, where they'd be put in a gulag or worse for the rest of their life. So this is what's happening, people. This is what's going on out there. And this is why, again, we should be talking about this stuff. This should be the top of the headlines, not this Cuomo jackhole. Now, fine, sure, get him. He's a moron. He did a bunch of dumb stuff. But there are other things in the world that are more important than Cuomo. I'm sorry. And this is one of them. So these folks are literally facing life in prison for speaking out against their government. Think about that. Life in prison. That's absurd. That is beyond absurd under a national security law. And that's why you have to be extremely careful, right? When you want to cheer for the red, white, and blue, when you want to cheer for the Western flag and pump your fist in the air and say, get the terrorists, because all they have to do is like tweak the definition of terrorist, and guess what? You are a terrorist. Yeah. And so be careful with these security laws and these things you support, because they slip in one little thing, right? And then even if you're not an adherent of the 17th letter of the alphabet, right? They're going to mark your YouTube videos with it. They're going to start making the case that you are. And then eventually, guess what? Michael Strange is a terrorist. You see? You see how this works, and you see how subtle it is, too. You see how subtle it is. Now, somebody could come and I say this because, here, I'm going to just pull this up so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Let's do it. Let's do this real fast, just so I don't have to say it, right? I'm going to pull it up as an example so I don't have to say it, and you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. Just one moment, please, as I digress here, speaking of this, and how these things change and how quickly they can change with the help of a dishonest everything, a dishonest government, a dishonest media, a dishonest technocracy that somehow is doing its thing, right? Now, this is our last video. I'm going to put this up on the screen here. This is the one we did on, this was Thursday. And here's the title of this. Another day, another UFO. American Airlines Flight 2292 reports UFO encounter over New Mexico. Well, just take a quick look above that and what they put. You see this? Right there. Right there. Yeah. You see? So in this literally, this entire thing, we had Tim from Georgia on the show. It was a great show, in my opinion. We talked about all kinds of good stuff. But they still marked it as the 17th letter. You see what's happening here? So now people don't even have to listen to my stuff, right? They don't have to say, well, what is this guy actually saying? What are the things he's talking about? They just go to the page, they click through a bunch of the videos and see that every single one of them has this tag on top. And guess what that tag means? It means I'm a political dissident. That's what it means. You see? You see? This stuff is not funny. Be careful about what national security laws you cheer for, because, again, they tweak the language and suddenly you are that enemy. Anyway, there we go. Enough beating that dead horse. Keep an eye on that. We'll keep an eye on the Hong Kong stuff, because that's terrifying. You speak out against a corrupt government, a clearly, obviously corrupt government, and they can put you in jail for life or worse, right? Nuts. Here we go. This is from livescience.com, and headline is this: Meet the Swirlon, a new kind of matter that bends the laws of physics. Researchers discover a new state of active matter. Interesting. Here we go. Let's see. Physical laws such as Newton's second law of motion, which states that as a force applied to an object increases, its acceleration increases, and that as the object's mass increases, its acceleration decreases, apply to passive, non-living matter ranging from atoms to planets. But much of the matter in the world is active matter and moves under its own self-directed force, said Nikolai Brilantov, a mathematician at Skolkovo Institute of Science and Technology in Russia and the University of Leicester in England. Is that how you say it? My English friends out there, Leicester, I don't know. See, I'm not English. I can't pull it off. Anyway, living things as diverse as bacteria, birds, and humans can interact with the forces upon them. There are examples of non-living active matter too. Nanoparticles known as Janus particles are made up of two sides of different chemical properties. The interactions between the two sides create self-propelled movement. All right, so then let's see. To explore active matter, Brilantov and his colleagues used a computer to simulate particles that could self-propel. These particles weren't consciously interacting with the environment, Brilantov told Live Science. Rather, they were more akin to simple bacteria or nanoparticles with internal sources of energy, but without information processing abilities. Interesting. Doesn't that almost sound like a new form of life? Huh. How do they know they can't actually process? Anyway, so the first surprise was that this active matter behaves very differently than passive matter. Active matter. Look at the term. Different states of passive matter can coexist, Brilantov said. For example, a glass of water can gradually evaporate into a gaseous state while still leaving liquid water behind. Okay, blah, blah, blah. All right. Anyway, I'm going to link this, and here we go. There's the particles grouped together as a large conglomerates or quasi-particles which milled together in a circular pattern around a central void, kind of like a swirl of schooling sardines. The researchers dubbed these particle conglomerates swirlons and named the new state of matter they formed a swirlonic state. In this swirlonic state, the particles displayed bizarre behavior. For example, they violated Newton's second law. When a force was applied to them, they did not accelerate. Interesting, right? Weird stuff here. I don't know what this means or what this is all about. I'm not a scientist, clearly. But if this is actually a new state of matter, a new active state of matter, what does that mean? It could mean a lot of things, right, for the future. It could mean great things for the future. It could mean horrifying things for the future. I'll bet you could use this for torture somehow. That needs to be a t-shirt. Here's a quick word from our sponsor, and we'll be right back. Are you digging the show? If so, you can support us quite easily and at no additional cost to you if you already have an Amazon Prime account. Since we stream on Twitch every day, all you have to do is link your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, and they give you free games on a monthly basis for your personal use, and also a bonus $5 a month to send to your favorite streamer as a way to bring more people to Twitch. And all you have to do is sync up the two accounts and click subscribe. Thanks for considering us. All right, and we have a victory. We got a puppy sleeping. Back to sleep. Yes. All right. So that's the deal. Meet the new Swirlon, a new kind of a active matter. I don't know what the hell that means, but I bet you could use it for torture. That needs to be a t-shirt. All right, let's go to bgr.com. And this is interesting. NASA has never seen a comet here before. So they're finding a comet in a particular area that is new. Interesting. The Hubble Space Telescope, which is operated by NASA and the European Space Agency, has spent much of its life peering deep into space in search of new discoveries. Recently, researchers using Hubble observations were able to detect what appears to be a comet hanging out in an area of our solar system where comets aren't typically spotted. In a new paper published in the Astronomical Journal, scientists revealed the presence of the comet near a band of asteroids that Jupiter corralled long ago. The asteroids, known as Trojans, and they orbit the sun, but are also controlled by the gravitational power of Jupiter. Now, a comet has joined that group. Jupiter, often called the king of the solar system, and there's good reason for that, the massive gas giant has been credited with shielding the inner planets from potentially dangerous asteroids, pulling them into a sun-centric orbit and preventing them from traveling deeper into the solar system. But its influence isn't limited to asteroids, and what we see now is this new comet-like object. The planet is good at pulling in all kinds of stuff. So, quote, the cool thing is that you're actually catching Jupiter flinging this object around and changing its orbital behavior and bringing it into the inner system, co-author Carrie Lissy of the Johns Hopkins University Applied Physics Laboratory said in a statement. Jupiter controls what's going on with comets once they get into the inner system by altering their orbits. By observing the current movements, the researchers are also able to estimate its past journey as well as its future. Unfortunately for the comet, which has been given the designation LD2, it might be bound for deep space. The researchers simulating the comet's future movement suggest it may end up being flung out of our solar system entirely, but that isn't expected to happen for around 500,000 years. Well, I guess we don't have to worry about it, do we? Anyway, pretty neat stuff that they're finding new things with telescopes, and I know there's some people out there that believe fake is space. I'll just leave it at that. But let's see. What else do we got? Here we go. This is another one. Let's go back to China for a second here. This is from the New York Times, another one of my favorite sources, as you guys are well aware. And we have China appears to warn India. Push too hard and the lights could go out. As border skirmishing increased last year, malware began to flow into the Indian electric grid, a new study shows, and a blackout hit Mumbai. It now looks like a warning. And now this is interesting in many ways because it clearly makes me think that how much malware is in our grid. how much malware do we have? Again, right? Silent weapons for silent wars, right? Like I was talking about yesterday with the Cuban microwave weapon that happened in the Cuban embassy that they're now calling a Russian weapon. But in this instance, we have malware in everybody's electric grids, right? You know, it's cross-polluted everywhere, all over the world, right? Everybody's got malware in everybody else's electrical facilities and capacity to be able to take this stuff down. But China basically is flexing their muscles now and talking about that Kashmir border where there's always a skirmish going on between India and China. Here we go. Early last summer, Chinese and Indian troops clashed in a surprise border battle in the remote Galwan Valley, bashing each other to death with rocks and clubs. 4 months later, and more than 1,500 miles away in Mumbai, India, trains shut down and the stock market closed as the power went out in a city of 20 million people. Yeah, hospitals had to switch to emergency generators to keep ventilators running amid a coronavirus outbreak that was among India's worst. Now, a new study lends weight to the idea that those two events may well have been connected as part of a broad Chinese cyber campaign against India's power grid, timed to send a message that if India suppressed its claims too hard, the lights could go out across the country. How about that? How about an adversarial country with complete access to your power grid to just click, turn the light switch off, and the country goes dark? Can you believe that? Can you absolutely believe that? This is crazy, right? And so, like I said, if they're doing it to India, of course they're doing it to everybody else. Everybody else. Malware, you don't have to march it across the border. You can send it across the interwebs. Across the interwebs. And yeah, that's what's up. What do you guys think about this? And actually considering our power issues that happened recently in Texas with the freeze and all the rest of this stuff, right? And not only that, we're seeing how we have a power grid that was built in the 50s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, and it's well past its expiration date. And then we have these companies like basically state-sponsored monopolies that are just soaking up the profits instead of rebuilding the entire infrastructure like they should be. Weird, right? So not only that, then we have maybe, possibly, probably China with their malware in our power grid as it stands now, which, if you recall just recently, somebody tried to poison a water supply. Where was that? Was that in, I can't remember where, but it just happened where somebody hacked into a particular water supply, tried to increase the amount of chemical that was in there. Was it lye? I think it was. Anyway, there was a particular chemical they tried to increase in the water supply, which would have poisoned the water supply. Straight with hacks. So, again, you got to wonder, right? You got to wonder what's happening with this stuff and how deep that each of these countries are into each other's infrastructure with malware. I'm sure it's probably terrifying, the amount that it's happening out there. So, yeah, I don't know. You tell me. I have no idea. I don't know. I'm just here talking about it, wondering with you, and having a troubled mind, as it were, right? Let's see. What else do we got? Let's see. Got that one. We did that one. We did this one. The Swirlons, the new kind of thing. Here we go. Here's another one. This is from Futurism.com. Back to that site again, which is a pretty good site, by the way. They limit the amount of articles you can see per month, so I'm going to blow through my limited amount per month in the first day here. But this is from again, Futurism, and the headline is this: 3 words: supersonic combat drones. Skynet in the sky, basically. Yeah. Now, think about all the UFOs we talk about on the other show. What about all those UFO sightings we talked about on Thursday with Tim from Georgia, and the MUFON database and the National UFO Reporting Center and all the things out there in the sky? Now look at this. Supersonic combat drones. Yeah, right? A Singapore-based aerospace company has developed a combat drone capable of reaching supersonic speeds. Kelly Aerospace unveiled their concept for an unmanned aerial vehicle called the Arrow last week, according to Auto Evolution. The drone's capable of flying more than 2,600 nautical miles at 2.1 or 1,611 miles per hour. That means the drone can fly from Los Angeles to Tokyo in a little over 3 hours, all while breaking the sound barrier. Los Angeles to Tokyo, little over 3 hours. That's fast. Oh, and it straight up looks like a UFO. It says right here in the article, right there. Looks like a UFO. Yeah, look at this thing. Look at this thing. Flat, black, kind of no features that stand out as a typical conventional airplane. Yeah. Anyway, despite $9 million to $16 million price tag, the drone already piqued the interest of buyers, garnering 100 pre-orders. Prospective customers are likely interested in the drone's potential to give combatants a creepy, fast, carbon fiber lightweight edge in warfare. Quote, the Arrow is designed to complement manned aircraft and be a force multiplier in aerial battlefield, the company explained in an information sheet. Like many drones currently in use, the Arrow is capable of being controlled by an operator. It can also take off autonomously, which, if you haven't seen the Terminator series, is pretty freaky, no? The UAV can also be flown in a fleet of aircraft as part of a larger mission. Interesting. So anyway, this is again, looks just like a UFO, right? Let's get a larger version of this. Let's see if we can. There we go. Blow this up. You guys can see what this thing actually looks like. Yeah. Does that look like a UFO? I think it might, doesn't it? And so again, as we always say, we go back to DARPA. If they're building this stuff now, when was DARPA building this stuff? And I don't know. I just don't know. You tell me. A little bit weird and a little bit, I don't know, exciting. Is this exciting? I don't know. I can't tell you. I don't know. I'm not the arbiter of those things. But here's what we're going to do. What's up, Rohan says, it looks like just like the thing that got caught docked with ISS. Yeah, right? Yeah. Yeah. And who knows? Exactly the point, right? And we know there's that, there's a top secret, what is it? It's like I can't remember the name of it, but it's like a space shuttle that stays up in orbit for like an entire year, just about. Like that thing's up there doing its stuff, right? And so, again, who knows how long it's been happening? It's the X something or other. I don't know what it's called, but anyway, we'll get back to that at some point. We talked about it in the past. It's so long ago, I clearly don't remember the name, but that's a good point. Is that these things like this are seen in space? And is this here? Is this an artist rendering, or is this the actual thing? Right? I don't know. That's a hell of a question. Here's the thing. We're going to take a quick break, and when you guys watch live, you know how fast these breaks are. They happen super fast. So hang tight. We'll take a quick break. You're listening to Conspiracy News with Michael Strange. We will be right back. All right. Welcome back to Conspiracy News, and we're talking about, UFOs, sort of, by proxy. Sort of by proxy. So, and if you want to be part of the show today, to talk about any of these things or anything else, actually, you know me, we're not too worried about derailing the show, because we could always get back to this other stuff another time. It's no problem. But if you want to be part of the show to comment on this or anything else, 702-957-1037. One more time, that's 702-957-1037. 1037. Yes, the XB1. I think you're right, Rohan. I think that's what it's called. And troubledminds.org is the official website. You can click the Discord link, join the Discord, and you can also be on the show that way. Just jump in the caller queue, and we'll put you on the show. All right, let's go to The Guardian, one of my other favorite news sources. Yeah, really, really, really good stuff. The headline reads this. Climatologist Michael E. Mann says, quote, "Good people fall victim to doomism. I do too sometimes." Oh, you mean by telling our children that the world only has 11 years, or we're dead? We're all dead? Yeah, doomism. That's a good way to put it, you schmuck. Michael E. Mann is one of the most influential climate scientists. He rose to prominence in 1999. Let me reiterate, 1999. How many years ago is that? It's a long-ass time ago, all right? It's a long-ass time ago. And so as the doomism continues to creep in, this guy has been making a climate career. Would you even call it a grift at some point? 1999, the world is ending. How much different is this from like the Nostradamus types, right? They're like, we're doomed. The world is ending. 1999, this guy's been saying it. This is the guy that made the hockey stick graph. You guys know the hockey stick graph? Let's read a little bit. He rose to prominence in 1999 as a co-author of the hockey stick graph, which showed the sharp rise in global temperatures since the industrial age. This was the clearest evidence anyone had provided of the link between human emissions and global warming. This made him a target. He and other scientists have been subject to ClimateGate, email hacking, personal abuse, and online trolling. Oh no, not online trolling, anything but that. I mean, a serious scientist really shouldn't be concerned about online trolling, should they? Get out of here, people. This is from The Guardian, by the way, which is more garbage. But this continues. So in his new book, The New Climate War, because, of course, the old one is now no longer sellable, so they have to make the new climate war. You understand what's happening here? He argues the tide may finally be turning to a hopeful direction. Oh, you mean we're not going to die in 11 years? We're all not going to burn in a fiery inferno of the sun just scorching us until there's no water left on Earth and our children will not have a future? Is that what you mean? Yeah, okay. Anyway, whatever. Here we go. Who is the enemy of the new climate war? It is fossil fuel interests, climate change deniers, conservative media tycoons working together with petrostate actors like Saudi Arabia and Russia. I call this the coalition of the unwilling. Oh, I see. If you had to find a single face that represents both the old and new climate war, it would be Rupert Murdoch, this guy says. And now I don't vouch for Rupert Murdoch. I'm sure he's probably an asshole. But, whatever. Just like everybody else, you got to paint the boogeyman or else this stuff doesn't exist, right? So Emmanuel Goldstein in this instance, and the climate war would be Rupert Murdoch. So climate change is an issue the Murdoch press has disassembled on for years. The disinformation was obvious last year when they blamed arsonists for devastating Australian bushfires. Okay, I'm going to say that slowly one more time. The disinformation was obvious last year when they blamed arsonists for the devastating Australian bushfires. Okay, so what actually started those fires? Does anybody know? Just asking. It says, this was a horrible attempt to divert attention from the real cause, which was climate change. Oh, I see. So climate change started the fire. Got it. Weird how that happens. Murdoch was taken to task by his own son because of the immorality of his practices. Weird. Do you think it's moral to tell children in school right now? I have nephews, and they are hook, line, and sinker. They are right there trying to tell you about the climate crisis because they're being bombarded with it in school, right? The indoctrination is deep with this. And I just think it's grotesquely irresponsible to frame it the way they do for political gain, to take over the power sectors and whatnot. I mean, again, let's go back to anyway. I don't care. What do you guys think? You know what I think. What do you think? 702-957-1037, troubledminds.org. I become just exhausted with this stuff because they're clearly not being honest with it, right? But of course, the Guardian and this asshole here in the picture, his climatologist Michael E. Mann with the hockey stick graph in 1999. We're 22 years later, and this guy still hasn't proven that we're dying of heat. Anyway, whatever. But they sure want to make sure to point out who the enemy is, right? Who the actual enemy is in this instance. Anyway, whatever. Let's go here. Let's go to more things happening in the world. Let's go to this. Let's go to RT.com, which is Russia Today. And so German soldier and relatives arrested over hoarding weapons and ammo and making extremist statements. Extremist statements. Let's see. Watching kids with the tablets. Yeah. Anybody's welcome to call in. If not, it's okay. But it just part of the deal. We have an open phone line, 702-957-1037, troubleminds.org. Here we go. So, in the latest suspected insurgency case, a German army soldier and two of his relatives were arrested in a special police forces operation. Police say the suspects have been hoarding weapons and making extremist statements. On Monday, police in the German western state of Hesse, Hesse, I'm not sure that's how you say it, said they arrested two men, including a 21-year-old Bundeswehr soldier as part of I don't know what that means. Is that, again, I don't know what that means. Anyway, as part of a series of raids over the weekend. While searching their apartments, the Special Forces officers discovered extensive evidence of their illegal activities and seized military-grade weapons, various ammunition, and explosives. The suspects, the soldier and reportedly his father, were then charged with illegally hoarding weapons and making right-wing extremist statements and placed into custody. Another suspect, who the German media says is the soldier's younger brother, 20, turned himself in on Sunday evening and was arrested as well. Now, I don't know. So, again, I've never been to Germany. I've never been to Europe, and I may not even be allowed there anymore. But in this particular case, can somebody help me? Is this the implication that they're Nazis or not Nazi sympathizers? So this is Russia Today reporting this about Germany. So it could just be like a slanderous article, but is that the implication? They're calling them right-wingers. And when you do that in Germany, that means you're sympathetic to neo-Nazis. I don't know. They don't say it directly in the article, but I wonder if that's the implication. Because right-wing extremism, right? That's the term they're using here. I don't know. So again, this says neo-Nazis in this blurb in the middle of the article, but it's about some other article. It's not this. So anyway, the incident has become the latest in a series of scandals related to far-right extremist activities within the German armed forces. The KSK has been a particularly frequent source of such incidents. A KSK non-commissioned officer was probed on similar charges of stockpiling military-issue firearms and ammunition in May of 2020. Later, it was also reported that he took part in a controversial farewell party involving, there it is, Nazi hand gestures staged by one of the KSK units. Okay. There it is. Finally, they get to it halfway through the article. They start calling them Nazis. So this is what this is. So if you're a right-winger in Germany, you're a Nazi. Now, I know, for instance, they try and say that about the United States. If you're a right-winger in the United States, you're a Nazi, and that's not even remotely true. So it makes me wonder about this, whatever the hell's going on in Germany there. I just don't know. So Weird. This stuff is, again, over my head a little bit because I don't know the politics over there. But I do know how the state's moved to crack down on people that are critical of the state, whether they be a threat or not. Right, I think that's part of the problem here, right? As Russia likes to do, and now they're reporting on Germany, right? Pot kettle black, etc. Anyway, so if you guys have comments on this, or anybody knows about the German political atmosphere, and you could educate me, I'd love it. 702-957-1037, troubleminds.org. Just kind of kicking it, talking about the news like we do, and we got a few more articles to get to and one more final segment, but we have time for you as always. So if you want to be part of the show, there you go, troubleminds.org. All the information is there. Let's do this. Let's take a quick final break, and then we'll march through the rest of these articles right now. Are you digging the show? If so, you can support us quite easily and at no additional cost to you if you already have an Amazon Prime account. Since we stream on Twitch every day, all you have to do is link your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, and they give you free games on a monthly basis for your personal use, and also a bonus $5 a month to send to your favorite streamer as a way to bring more people to Twitch. And all you have to do is sync up to 2 accounts and click subscribe. Thanks for considering us. Okay, this is from TheVerge.com, and now the headline reads this, and if you guys can see the screen right now, just watch. This will probably horrify you. New artificial intelligence called Deep Nostalgia brings old photos, including very old ones, to life. So they have a still image of a black and white young lady that they've used AI to actually animate. Basically, it's an old photo, clearly, and they've animated her face as she moves around. She blinks, she smiles, she looks up at the sky, the ceiling, as if she's posing. Yeah, right. Right. An AI-powered service called Deep Nostalgia that animates still photos has become the main character on Twitter this fine Sunday, as people try to create the creepiest fake video possible, apparently. The Deep Nostalgia service, offered by online genealogy company MyHeritage, uses AI licensed from D-ID to create the effect that a still photo is moving. It's kind of like the iOS Live Photos feature, which adds a few seconds of video to help smartphone photographers find the best shot. But Deep Nostalgia can take photos from any camera and bring them to life. The program uses pre-recorded driver videos of facial movements and applies the one that works best for the still photo in question. Its intended purpose is to allow you to upload photos of deceased loved ones and see them in action, which seems like a lovely idea. Does it? I don't know. Here's one right here. Let's play this. This is from, yeah. This is what we're talking about right here. Is that creepy? As this black and white photograph moves around, and yeah. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that's creepy. What does this mean? I don't know. I don't know. Users have to sign up for a free account on MyHeritage and then upload a photo. From there, the process is automated. The site enhances the image before animating it and creating a GIF. The site's FAQ says it does not provide the photos to any third parties. And it's on its main page, a message reads, "Photos uploaded without completing setup are automatically deleted to protect your privacy." Just like they always say, right? Every big tech company always says, no, we don't keep any data. If you delete it, it's deleted forever. Just curious. What is this? So now, not only are we not satisfied with facial recognition in the current day, right? Just taking it in real time from Facebook or some of these other large media conglomerates. Instead, now we're going to go back into genealogy. We're going to map you to your gene pool and try and match facial expressions based on ancestors of yours. Or not, as the case may be. I don't know. Anyway, naturally, the program has become something of a meme generator on Twitter, with users trying to push the AI to its limit. An archaeologist used photos of ancient statues, and yes, they included some with blank eyes. Sorry in advance for the nightmare fuel, but hi there, Alexander the Great. So let's look at this. I got to go full screen for this one. This is Alexander the Great with AI, a marble face that appears to be all busted up. Let's see what this looks like. Okay. That's horrifying. It's actually animated, this stone face. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. Well, there we go. There's the future, guys. There's the future. Here's another one. Here's actually Alexander the Great. It looks like something from Clash of the Titans. Anybody seen that old movie when the statues moved? What the hell is this? Okay. All right. Whatever. Anyway, here we go, right? So we're going to be able to bring back our old photographs back to life, animate them. Let's see. Yeah. Creepy. 702-957-1037. How's this make you feel? You want a photorealistic picture of a great grandma that you only have a still image of? Yeah. No thanks. I don't. That's creepy. That's creating. This is a new way of creating a memory that does not exist, right? Meaning that the mannerisms of great grandma or whoever this may be may actually not be the mannerisms the AI ascribes to that person, thereby creating a monster of sorts. What would you call them? Like we said earlier in that other show, a ways back we did on Troubled Minds. Yeah, more like a golem, right? Or a homunculus, or some sort of Frankenstein situation. Weird, right? Weird. So imagine, now you start combining technologies. You've got this. You can recreate a perfect 3D representation of this person's face. You could slap them on a robot. You can take these facial tics or smiles or poses or whatever the hell's actually going on here, and you could turn it into, I don't know, a resurrection of sorts. A bastardization of a resurrection. Yeah. Anyway, let's go. Speaking of conspiracies, let's do this. This will be a quick, fun one. This is from we got Hector in the caller queue. I'll get him in a sec. This is from radio.com. Former Marlins exec. This is baseball. You guys know I'm a baseball fan, and baseball's starting up. I can't be more excited. It's getting warm outside. Baseball's starting up, but here we go. A conspiracy. Former Marlins executive. Not one person in MLB, which is Major League Baseball, believes Albert Pujols is the age he says he is. There's your conspiracy. Too funny, too good, too hilarious. Let's go to the phone call. Oh, well, I guess not. Hector, what's up, buddy? I was going to put you on the show, and then you took off. Anyway, even when the Marlins still employed him as team president, David Sampson, now a podcast host and guest of the Dan Le Batard show, was never afraid to speak his mind. Okay, blah, blah. Anyway, basically, what they do is when they come over from different, I think Albert Pujols is Dominican, and so he lied about his age. So if let's say he's 25, but he tells them he's 20, they're like, wow, he's really advanced for a 20-year-old. Well, of course, because he's not 20, he's 25. And so that's basically what happens to a lot of these Dominican, I think Miguel Tejada was one where they caught him lying as well about his age. But anyway, interesting. There's your quick baseball conspiracy, because I love all conspiracies of all kinds. And not one person in Major League Baseball believes Albert Pujols is the age he says he is. And I think he's now 42. 43 years old, something like that. So if he's plus 5 years, that makes him nearly 50 playing Major League Baseball. And that would explain why he's no longer a good baseball player. Just saying. No offense to the folks that are 50, but you probably shouldn't be playing professional baseball. Here we go. Let's continue, shall we? This is from phys.org, and I'm not sure I completely understand this one. Actually, since I don't understand this one, let's just skip it. I'm not going to try and figure it out. How about this? I totally understand this one. And this is creepy. This is from Gizmodo.com, and the report is this. Gatorade created a wearable patch that tells you how much Gatorade to drink. WTF is this? If you thought wearable devices were limited to smartwatches and AR glasses, that's just the tip of the iceberg. In a few years, we could all be covered from head to toe in smart stickers, starting with a new patch from Gatorade that can let you know if you're staying properly hydrated. Developed by a startup called Epicor Biosystems working with PepsiCo's Gatorade subsidiary, the new GX Sweat Patch, featuring Gatorade's recognizable branding, is designed to be stuck to the inner left arm of an athlete during a workout. An accompanying app generates a sweat profile that lets the wearer know how much to drink to replenish their hydration levels. But unlike glowing tattoos that could one day let an athlete know when it's time to stop and rehydrate, the one-time use GX Sweat Patch doesn't feature any electronics. Instead, it's made from layers of thin polymers etched from microfluidic channels. During a workout, sweat emanating from the wearer's skin makes its way into one of the channels and slowly fills up while it's dyed orange using non-toxic food dyes, of course, in the process to make its progress more visible. All right, so your sweat fills it up, and then in a separate channel, chemicals react with chlorine in the sweat and turn purple, indicating the concentration of sodium detected, which is then used to determine the wearer's electrolyte balance. The low-tech approach is probably why a 2-pack of these smart patches sells for $25 and not hundreds of dollars. Well, there you go. If you ever wanted to know how much Gatorade to drink, now you know. You have the smart patch. A 2-pack will run you $25, and no thanks. No thanks. Yeah, okay. All right, here we go. Now, this is funny because I talked about this yesterday on the other show that we did, the Conspiracy News show, and I was talking about carbon footprints, and I basically said this, that it's not fair to create 2 levels of freedom based on the resources you can use, basically with the wealth you've accumulated, right? So, for instance, rich people can just blow through their allotted carbon footprint allowance in like one morning, right? Like with their heated swimming pools and their private jets. For an entire year. One morning, bam, gone. But then the rest of us, like I said, and I made this statement yesterday, and don't get me wrong, I'm not being obtuse about this, guys. Like I understand that we have to be good citizens of the world and do the best for what's best for the planet. But if it's the rule set is divided into the rich people and everybody else, then I have a huge, serious problem with that, and it becomes a liberty argument, okay, where people are allowed to do what they can, or what they're allowed to do because they have a lot of money, okay, and then there's the rest of us that don't, and so that's my problem with this, okay. So don't get me wrong, I know that I sometimes make arguments that seem half thought out. I just half explain them as part of the problem, but anyway, so. Interestingly, so I had that article, and I was talking about it yesterday about the carbon footprint and how much we're allotted per year on a average person type basis, right? Because of course you have the climate heads that say we can only have this much carbon in the air and blah blah, and then each person is allotted this much per year and blah blah, and then you get like I said yesterday, Leo DiCaprio jet setting banging supermodels in his private jet. I'm sure that's totally fine, right? I'm sure that's cool. Not that I want that. I'm not jealous of that. Let him be him. I don't care. But what I'm saying is he shouldn't be allowed to do that when the rest of us can't aspire to the same thing, whether you want that or not, right? It's a do as I do, not, or do as I say, not do as I do type of situation. But anyway, so that was the point I made yesterday. Now, oddly enough, today, this gets pushed to my phone, all right? I was like, wow, that's weird. It's almost like they're keeping tabs on me, and they want to answer the things that I've said. Weird. Anyway, this is from Vox. Why rich people use so much more energy. All right? Weird. Right? Here's a simple and important fact for the fight against climate change. Wealthy people consume more energy and consequently are responsible for more greenhouse gas emissions than less wealthy people. Right? Okay, that's what I was saying. But this continues. All right. And as income and wealth inequality have risen across the world for the past 40 years, the wealthy have consumed more and more relative to their numbers. Energy inequality has increased alongside income inequality. And that's kind of what I was saying yesterday, right? But here's the problem. Now, this is from a year ago, March 20th, 2020. But this got pushed to my phone yesterday as a new article. It was one of those, oh, in case you missed it, right? It's like they're trying to explain to me, well, this is why, okay? We've figured this out, and the rich people use more energy overall because of this reason, right? We figured it out, and it's not as insidious as you think. Here we go. The precise nature of the relationship between income and energy inequality has remained somewhat fuzzy, with lots of studies being done within countries or between countries, but few studies that draw on a comprehensive global data set. Without that broad international overview, let's go click here, and it has been difficult to get a clear picture of energy inequality and thus develop effective climate and energy policy in response, right? All right, so you tell me, do you think really that they're going to crack down on the rich folks because of the climate stuff? Or do you think they're only going to crack down on the plebs because we're useless eaters? You see? That's my argument. That's my complaint, right? Like I said yesterday, you first. Like, if Nancy Pelosi wants to give up her two $12,500 refrigerators full of $8 a pint ice cream, you first, Nancy Pelosi. You first, Leo DiCaprio. You guys put your damn money where your damn mouth is and just go ahead and cash your shit in and live in a tiny house like you want the rest of us to live in. But you see, that's not what they want at all. They want us to do that, and they still want to have their big-ass palaces. That's where I have the problem, all right? That's where I have the problem. If they really believe this shit they're saying, and they don't, but if they did, they would be making examples, wouldn't they? Like, it wouldn't surprise me if AOC, like, she really believes this stuff, you know? If she, like, started living in a tiny house and was, you know, kind of doing her thing. It wouldn't surprise me, right? But she's not, you know, whatever you think about her, like, she's definitely heavily indoctrinated into her, whatever it is she is. But she believes it. She fully believes it, right? But Pelosi and these guys, the people that actually run the world, they don't believe this shit at all. They use it as a political means to an end. That's what they use it for. So, and that's why it pisses me off. And that's why I rage about it all the time. But anyway, here we go. So, the study began by calculating the total energy footprint, including indirect energy use, the energy, quote, embodied in materials of a wide range of goods and services. It examined who buys those services and how that changes as income rises, all right? So, and it calculated the product's income elasticity of demand, which has to do with how demand for a good service. Okay, anyway, blah, blah, blah. I've linked this if you guys want to check it out and read the article. But here's the thing. This thing basically is blocking for rich people using more energy by saying that they just travel. They travel more. And they're saying that, well, you know, on a by person basis, they're not really using more energy. It's just because of the travel, right? And then they try and make the claims that, you know, a lot of these, you know, airlines are flying around anyway type of thing. And so you can't, like, necessarily ascribe their travel. Anyway, it's a bunch of bullshit is what it is. It's a bunch of bullshit because they don't bring up their mansions or their heated swimming pools or their multiple houses that have the climate control on 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. They don't talk about any of that shit because, of course, they're blocking. They're blocking for the elite class and allowing them to have that dual level, like I always say, that dual level of freedom. They want us to have one version and they want them to have another. And that's what this is about. Like I said, AOC believes it. Fine. Good on her. You know, if you believe it in your heart, go get it. You know, fine. I don't have a problem with that. But if you're a lying POS like Nancy Pelosi and you're trying to say that this stuff is real and then you have these giant honking refrigerators full of expensive-ass ice cream, come on now. Let's be real. Let's be real about this. And they have these properties, these beachfront properties. You know what I'm saying? Obama gets out of office and buys this beachfront-ass property in Martha's Vineyard. Are you kidding me? Really? If you really believe the shit you were saying, isn't that thing going to be underwater in 11 years? Weird. Anyway, I digress. Here we go. This is from Tom DeLonge. Tom DeLonge. One of my favorites. On Twitter, he posted this. And this is a real picture, he says. Real picture. And it appears to be, I don't know, something kind of shaped like maybe shoulders and a head of sorts. Like maybe, I don't know. I don't know what this is, right? It says real picture. Right down below, our good friend Joe Murgia, the UFO Joe, posted this. Definitely a photo of what? No idea. The Bledsoes believe it's an entity. Yeah, I don't know. Couldn't this be anything, really? I mean, you kind of sort of have to have that in its context. So it looks like it could be, right, I don't know, Slender Man, right? Or something like this. It could be any kind of anything. I think that's the thing. It could be any kind of anything. And so I don't know. But like, this is the type of stuff that is, kind of like I said, you got to watch people that are trying to pull the wool over your eyes and tell you these things are the things they are when they may not be. I don't know. Maybe it's a phantom. Maybe it's a specter. Maybe it's a ghoul. Maybe this is an alien. I don't know. But the implication that Tom DeLonge is putting up here, he doesn't say it, of course, but we all know what Tom DeLonge is about. Real picture. All right. Fine. Fine. Maybe. What's up, Rohan says, maybe it's a 2-megapixel camera. That could be. That very well could be. And I don't know. This is what I'm saying, right? Like, you just can't. You have to have your bullshit detectors up all the time, guys. Even for me, don't take the stuff I say as fact. Don't do it. Don't do it. Go double check all my links. That's why I try and be as transparent as possible. Try and have the open line, because I'm wrong. I am wrong. I will be wrong. I'll continue to be wrong. But I'm also right as part of being human, right? I also have my moments where I'm correct. So that's what I'm saying. It's for you to decide. Here's the information. Here's where we got it. You can call me if you think I'm full of crap, no problem. 702-957-1037. I'm a big boy. You can't hurt my feelings like that. We'll have a conversation. We'll still be friends. It's just part of it. And that's what we're doing. So Tom DeLonge says that, and it's an entity of sorts. Or it's something. I don't know. Whatever. What do you guys think? That's the important part. Yeah. Anyway. That's really funny. But all right, so that's the deal. That's what we're doing. We're finished for the day. So here's the thing. So this is episode 48 of Conspiracy News. So we've broken them down into seasons of 50. So for the rest of the week, we won't do this until Sunday and Monday, which we'll do 49 and number 50, which will be the end of season 1. Then we'll take a few weeks off. We'll still continue to do Troubled Minds, which is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 7 p.m. It's just giving me a little break because juggling all the things at the same time is a lot of work. And I also have this additional little puppy that's thankfully asleep right now. But she's been a terror, and like I said, it was not a situation I wanted, but she needs a home, and so we gave her a home. So I'll tough it up. We'll turn her into a little soldier, and she'll be a fantastic little dog. So no problem there. I don't want you guys to think I was complaining terribly. It's just she bit me, and no manners, and you got to potty train them from zero. Dogs, puppies are like they're like kids, like garbage in, garbage out. So you got to treat them right. You got to train them right, and then they'll turn into sweet little dogs. So I've been working hard getting her right. She's getting with the program. We'll be okay. But anyway, that was not even part of this. That just kind of came out of nowhere. So anyway. So as what we're going to do, no more conspiracy news for this week. Again, please send me the links, send me information, send me things you want me to talk about. Shout out to Mr. Ark out there for putting a bunch of links in conspiracy news on the conspiracy news links on Discord. Drop them in there, guys, if you want me to talk about it. It's the easiest way for me to just do a quick scan, say, yep, we'll pick this one, we'll pick this one, we'll pick this one, throw them on the news show, and we'll talk about it. So what we may do for Troubled Minds from time to time here in the next few weeks as this winds down is maybe add some more news as it's pertinent, or maybe not. We'll just see. I don't know. As always, I kind of decide the moment of. But anyway, all right, so we're done. Hang tight. Well, this is the end of this week for Conspiracy News. We got 2 more episodes from season 1. We'll do those on Sunday and Monday of next week, and then we will take a few weeks off from this, but continue doing Troubled Minds. That's what's going on. As always, you guys can reach me at troubledmindsradio@gmail.com if you want to send me an email. I get some emails sometimes of people sending me pictures of UFOs and things. I get stories of weird synchronicities and all kinds of stuff. So if you want to be on the show, you guys know you're invited. Just let me know. Just we can give you a segment, an hour, whatever you think your story is worth time-wise, and we can talk about it, and I'll do some research to kind of accompany your story. I'd rather talk to you guys than talk to Linda Bolton Howell, because she's spent a lifetime, telling a story. So there's a lot of sources you can go get her story, or like, what's his name? Richard Dolan, guys like this, like, no offense to them. Whatever you think about them is fine. Whether you like like them or you don't, I don't care. That's up to you. But my point is, their story's been told. I want to hear your story, and so that's part of the problem here. Is that and part of why we've always done it this way, et cetera, so on. So you guys know you're invited on the show on Troubled Minds, or if you want to be on this show too, that's cool. If you want to talk the news, you let me know, and we'll do it. And that's what we're here doing. So one more time, bad news is we're done for today. Good news is we'll be back tomorrow night, Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Troubled Minds, and let's finish this up. Let's go to the full screen outro, and let's do it. Let's do it. Let's play this music here. Let's do it. All right. Let's go and play it. All right. So this is a Star Wars crawl for the folks that have subbed up to the channel, and yes. Thank you to everybody for listening. Thanks for all the great chat. Thanks for sharing the show. Thanks for doing that. Just thanks for being you. Thanks for trying to think about the world in a critical way and make it a better place by being an engaged citizen. I appreciate that a lot. And thanks for being here. It makes it easy for me to do. Special thank you to these people who have subbed up to the channel. AJ Dare, Alien Nichan, Arc Platinum, Axel Steel 3, Dark Devious, FTC Spiral, Weirdo75, Ident, Lizzie Dags, Monochromatic, Nikki Nix, Noble Cal L, Often Frozen, Quint67, Super Vike 1, Satan Claus. And special thanks to Bailey and Mr. Ark for throwing out the gift subs on Twitch. Special thanks to Dwayne Dibley, Bailey, and Noble Cal-El for boosting the Discord server. And spread the word. Let them know. You can get your news and you can talk about this stuff in a mostly honest way. And you don't have to take the BS from the mainstream. You just don't. So there you go. You guys are the best. Thanks again for hanging out. We'll be back tomorrow night, Troubled Minds, 7 p.m. on Fringe FM and on Facebook and YouTube and DLive. For right now, have a great day. Be good to yourself so you can be good to others. See you tomorrow night. Have a great afternoon.